Today we're talking about one of my favorite games of all time, Diablo 2. Specifically, the ideal hardcore team comp, as you can see at the top of the video. And of course, we're joined by the Diablo 2 orchestra playing right behind me. Thank you, guys. Amazing soundtrack, right? But alright, let's get started. We're going to get started with our first character here. A lot of you guys that have been playing Diablo 2 can probably guess who I would consider as the most important addition to our team. Our 8-man hardcore team comp. First one is this guy. Raw! That's right, the Barbarian. Why is he so damn important for the team? Battle orders. A lot of you probably guessed it. Battle orders. Let's read this a little bit. Improves the maximum mana, life, and stamina of you and your party. Requires level 24, and at our first point, it's going to last for 30 seconds, which is technically 35 seconds if you have 1 point in shout, which you need to get to battle orders anyway, right? So it would be 35 seconds with the first point, and increases our stamina, life, and mana by 35%. 35% is already pretty big, right? Well, if you decide to bring it to level 20, which you should, the duration will be 230 seconds with 1 point in all 3 shouts, and it increases our stamina, life, and mana of the entire party by 92%. And of course, we're going to have plus skills. You know, let's just say you have plus 5 to skills, and a couple of them are maybe a couple of plus to shouts or something. Battle orders would be like level 25 or so. You're pushing everyone's life, mana, and stamina over 100% increase in all of that, right? And the way I explained it to my guild is when we're talking about this comp, because this conversation comes up all the time, is without this buff, there's going to be a lot of people that die when they otherwise would have survived with battle orders on them, because you're essentially doubling their survivability when they have 100% increased health, right? So if you're playing with battle orders and you ever see someone's health drop to like 40% or something, and you're giving like 100% increased life, they would have died without battle orders on them. I always point that out when we ever see that. If we ever see that happen while we're playing, I'll point that out and say, you know, without battle orders, that was death right there. And it happens a lot of times, and it becomes very clear that battle orders is keeping people alive. It's keeping them from starting from level 1, going back to Act 1 normal, and leveling that character again. Well, what else does the Barbarian bring to the table? Battle Command. That's right. We love Battle Command, right? This is at level 2. Just level 2. I just threw 2 points in it on purpose. It's 120 seconds, and it starts very, very low. The duration starts extremely low, like 5 seconds. And the reason for that is because... Oh, well, the reason it's at 120 seconds here with only 2 points is because it's synergizing with battle orders and with shout, right? It gets 5 seconds per level from the other abilities. A lot of people only put 1 point in battle command and 1 point in shout and put everything else in battle orders. That's certainly fine. You don't have to put more than 1 point in battle command. If I was to put more points in any shout other than battle orders, it would be shout. And the reason for that is because shout scales. It scales when you put additional points, it increases defense more. You don't have to put more than 1 point in shout. You really don't. Personally, I do. I put a little bit extra in there because it synergizes with the increased duration. And if I buff people with my shouts and they happen to run off and I don't see them again for 2 minutes, I want to make sure those shouts are staying on them, right? I want to make sure that lasts. And in addition to that, the increased defense is always good. It's not as good as battle orders, but it's still good. It's a great addition, and you should be using all 3 shouts. You should, definitely. So battle command, when we level it, we only get 10 seconds on duration for battle command. That's all it does. But if we level shout, we get 5 seconds on battle command, and shout is increasing the defense percentage increase. So this right here, this is the most important thing out there right now. Well, forever, because Diablo 2 is not going to get new skills. I hope. In Resurrected, I personally wouldn't like that. But battle orders is by far the most important thing in Diablo 2 for staying alive. It's the best thing you can throw on your team. What else can the Barbarian bring to the table? Is there anything else? Yes. Personally, I'm not a really big find item player, but this is quite important for those that want to play that way. If you stack gold find and you stack item or magic find, you can find a hell of a lot of items and gold for your team, which you can then use to gamble or, you know, be like, hey, yo, I found this item that I know you need. Here you go. Like, that's how my guild and I play. We play together as like a team, a unit. If I find an item that I know someone else needs, I'm going to give it to them for free. Like, that's how we function. And find item is amazing. Not even just for a team, for yourself too. If you ever like to run like Travancal in, I know a lot of people say Travincal. I used to say that when I was young. But Travancal, find item is super important. You find a ton of gold there, and you can use that to gamble. You get a character up to like level 93. That makes gambling the most efficient. That's how you're going to find your best stuff. You get a ton of gold doing that, especially if you you stack that. You stack a lot of gold find, and you have items that you throw on weapons specifically for your gold find. When you're using find item, after you kill everything, you just switch to your magic find and gold find of weapons like the Talibabas. You dual wield them, socket them properly to increase your gold find. You get a ton of gold, and you can go on your gambling runs, and hopefully you find something nice for your characters and your team's characters. But again, find item is just like that added bonus. You don't have to play that way if you don't want to. Main thing is our shouts. Well, that's it for the first character. Let's move on to the second one. Our second member of the hardcore team, this guy. Who the heck is that? That's the Druid. You might have guessed it. So, what does Druid bring to the table? Oak Sage, the number one most important thing they can bring to the table because of the amazing increase to life. This is just at level 1. It's only got 60 life, so pretty squishy, but it increases the player's life and, of course, the party by 30% in a 20-yard radius. But what does it look like at level 20? Bam! 402 life instead of 60, 125% increase to life instead of 30, and a massive 45.3 yard range instead of the 20. So that is a major, major upgrade to the Oak Sage. And of course, it doesn't have to stop there. You're going to have plus skills. Hopefully you get that up to like at least 25, 26, maybe 30, hopefully. It is just a massive, massive increase to survivability for yourself and your team. So how do you play the Druid when you're running Oak Sage? Well, there's definitely multiple ways you can play it. You can play it as the Elemental Druid, which is great, but me, I prefer Werebear. And the reason for that is because it's another massive increase to life. You see plus 75% life for 40 seconds when you're in Werebear form, right? And the first level is 55% damage increase and 25% defense. So what happens if we level Werebear to 20? Well, with Lycanthropy, which increases our max life by 115% with 420 second increase to the duration of Werebear, that's at level 20. With that and Werebear at 20, it looks like this. We get a 190% increase to the Druid's life for 460 seconds. It's a massive 207% damage increase and 139% defense increase for the Druid. So, what ability are you using when you're in Werebear form? Well, if you're thinking from a team perspective, Shockwave is amazing because it stuns enemies. This is at level 20 with only 1 point in Maul. So it can definitely get a lot higher damage, plus you need to calculate the 207% damage increase in the Werebear form to Shockwave as well. So that 103 to 114 damage, you have to do the math with the plus 207% damage. Obviously, you could be hitting upwards of 300 plus, and you can definitely spam the crap out of this skill, but the stun is what we care about the most. It's got a massive stun length of 13 seconds. So most people do not bring Shockwave to 20 because it's unnecessary, because you don't need a massive stun length like that. 13 seconds is pretty much far too long for any enemy you're going to come across to be stunned. But when an enemy's stunned, it's great because it's not killing you or your team, right? Because it's stunned. But there's definitely higher damage options you can go with instead of Shockwave, which if you're running with a decent sized team, maybe 4+ players, there's probably going to be players dishing out a lot of damage, so you might not need to do a ton of damage yourself. So having a stun would probably be a better option. But you'll have to think about that and think about your team composition. Now, let's say there's 2 Druids on the team. Do you both want to be running Oak Sage? Probably not, because they don't stack. Well, if we take a look at the bottom left right there, I just popped up Heart of Wolverine. Heart of Wolverine, summon a spirit pet that adds to the damage and attack rating of you and your party. At level 20, it has 782 life. It increases damage by 153%, increases attack by 158% with a 45.3 yard radius. That is incredible. So that is definitely an option. Personally, if we're playing hardcore and I'm the only druid, I am running Oak Sage. But if there's 2 druids in the party, you have like a full 8-player comp, or maybe, you know, every once in a while you have different players pop on in your guild or your clan, whatever you call it, or just random groups. You have a different druid hop in, he's running Oak Sage. Maybe you have a Heart of the Wolverine druid instead. That is incredible. Of course, that's adding massive damage to the group. Maybe you have a summoner on the team. Maybe your mercenary is really strong and it's increasing his damage. It's an amazing addition. So, guys, that is the end of our second addition to the team, the druid. We're going to move on to the third. All right, our third entry into the hardcore team. Now, before we reveal, I'm just going to say this is probably where things start to get a little more opinionated, where there's really no right answer on who's going to take the third slot. Well, I feel this guy's still important, but I don't really think he deserves third. You know, I expect those comments, and that's okay, because there's definitely a lot of opinionated thoughts and debates that can go into this topic here. So I think we can all agree that the Barbarian and the Druid have major additions to the team. But what about this guy? And my number 3 is the Paladin. And the reason why is even beyond does the Paladin deserve the number 3 slot? Should it be this Paladin or this Paladin or this Paladin or this Paladin? There's different ways to have the Paladin used and utilized in your team. Let's back up a little bit. Let's concentrate one at a time here. Holy Freeze. Now, you definitely don't have to run this, as I showed you, but Holy Freeze, what if you did run it? What does it bring to the table? Well, it adds cold damage to your attack. It does cold damage as it ticks on enemies nearby, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is enemies are slowed by 54%. This is a level 20. That 54% is amazing. It is incredible. It's reducing the enemy effectiveness pretty much by half, more than half. They can't attack as fast, they can't move as fast, and it increases survivability for your team, as well as damage in a way. It increases damage because enemies are not running and avoiding your attacks. They generally don't do that, but there'll be times where you do miss an attack or enemies move away from your mercs and your summons. So there's a little bit of a damage increase there, but mostly it does increase survivability for your team, and it's a good addition. It's a good addition to the team for sure. But you definitely don't have to have that. Like, you have to have the Barbarian, and in my opinion, you have to have the Druid, increasing life. You don't have to have Holy Freeze. Let's say you have a Paladin on your team that doesn't run Holy Freeze. Well, they can run Concentration. If you have a Hammerdin on your team, they are using Concentration. Period. That is what they're going to be using. It is a great addition to the team's damage, it's a great addition to their damage, and it is the only aura that's going to increase their hammer's damage. Let the Hammerdin use Concentration. If you have a Zealodin or a Smiteodin on your team, get them off of that. Let the Hammerdin keep that. Especially, you know, if there is a Hammerdin on the team. They should be using Concentration. No one else should steal that aura from them. But what else do they get? Well, Conviction is an aura that you could run as well, and it's a great addition to the team because it's going to greatly increase the damage of your team. And damage means, you know, high damage means dead enemies, right? And if enemies are dead, they're not killing your team. So Conviction is also a very nice addition to the team. A lot of people don't run this as much as I used to see. But Conviction is incredible because it's one of the 4 abilities in the game that can remove an enemy's immunity to an element, to a magic type, to fire, lightning, you know, stuff like that. You can remove that with Conviction. It is very, very good. It is extremely good for team play, especially if you have a lot of element-using characters or whatever you want to call it, classes on your team in your composition. You have your sorceresses, you have your Javazons, which are obviously highly lightning-based. Conviction helps a lot. Moving on, though. Fanaticism. In my opinion, this is my favorite. This is my favorite aura on the Paladin. I saved my favorite for last, because Fanaticism is just incredible. It increases your damage, the Paladin, by 373%, and the party's damage by 186. If we move up a little quick, move our eyes up to Concentration a little bit, you'll see that there's a 345% damage increase. That's to the entire team, so it's a better overall damage increase of the team if you use Concentration. But Fanaticism increases attack speed by 35%. That's for the Paladin and for all teammates as well. And it increases their attack by 135%, which is going to help you land more hits, less misses. It's overall incredicism is just... It's so damn strong. I don't know why they made this aura so strong, but it's great to have one on the team. But there are different ways to obtain this aura. There are weapons that give fanaticism, right? So we could use something else. We could use Might. I don't have an image of Might, but Might is really, really good. It's a great addition to the team as well because there's just flat-out damage increase from Might, as well as, you know, concentration and fanaticism. You can use all three, and you could utilize them by having a Merc use Might from Act 2, while having fanaticism from the Paladin, or concentration from a second Paladin that's using your Blessed Hammer, your Hammerdin's using concentration, your Zealadin or Smiteadin is using fanaticism. Smite? What's Smite? Well, there we go. Smite. Temporary stun your enemy by bashing it with your shield. At level 20, 300% damage increase, stun life 4.4. Why is Smite so good? Well, Smite is pretty much, I hate to say required, but it's pretty much required if you're running an Uber Tristram on a Paladin, you're doing it with Smite. There are other classes that can do Uber Tristram, but for your team, if you have a Smiteadin, it is amazing to just say, hey, dude, here's my mats to start Uber Tristram, here are the stuff you need to do it, can you go run it for me? You'll have the Barbarian buff the Smiteadin, and then the Smiteadin will go into Uber Tristram, everyone else can leave the game, and he can go solo that Uber Tristram. He can get Uber Tristram done, he can get you your torch, and he can deliver that torch to whoever helped him summon Uber Tristram, right? Or hopefully you guys are working as a team, and you can say, oh, I found a Necro torch, let me give it to our Necro. Oh, I found a Smiteadin torch, or, well, a Paladin torch, I'm gonna keep that for myself. Okay, I got a Barbarian torch, and that's how we work as a team. Hopefully you guys have a composite or a group, a guild, a clan, that you can do that as well. But the Smiteadin can handle Uber Tristram for you. Fanaticism and Smite are... they go hand in hand. They are very good. They're close. They're close together. So you, of course, can still be Zeal, which is my favorite. I like being a Zealadin with Fanaticism. And then, of course, you can also grab Smite. But I have Holy Shield up there as well because I wanted to talk about that. No matter what Paladin you are, get Holy Shield. You should always be using a shield and a one-hander as a Paladin. Holy Shield is just too damn good. It's good. It is very good. It is the easiest way to max block. It's the easiest character in the game to get max block. Obviously, you need more than just Holy Shield to max your block, but it is a massive boost. A 35% successful blocking chance. A 310% defense bonus. Lasts for 505 seconds, so you don't have to reapply it too much. And, of course, it increases Smite's damage. And if you are a Smiteadin, you plan to do Uber Tristram and kill end-to-act bosses super quickly, crushing blow, crushing blow, crushing blow. Super important. You definitely need to stack that. So guys, that is the end of my Paladin, I don't know, entry to the hardcore team. Hopefully you guys agree, and if not, you can definitely go in the comments and debate this. I'm always happy to talk about it. I'm happy to hear what you guys would put in number 3, but we're not done yet. We're gonna go to number 4. Let's do this. What a beautiful song, right? Any true Diablo 2 fan is gonna have a little bit of like an emotion stir inside them when they hear the start of this song. It's beautiful. All right, enough of that though. Our 4th team member for the hardcore comp. Who's it gonna be? You might disagree with me on this one, and if you do, let me know in the comments. That's okay. It's okay if you do. That guy. The Summoning Necro. Specifically the Summoning Necro. I'm just gonna pop up some stuff real quick on the Summoning Necro. So here's our 5 core... I shouldn't say that. Here's our... whatever. This is a big portion of the Summoning Necro, right? We're missing golems, right? We're getting to that, I promise. So I didn't want to say core and leave out golems. But anyway, our raised skeleton is our bread and butter. It's our start of our Summoning Necro. These are your melee skeletons. Everything shown here is at level 20, with the Skeleton Mastery and Summon Resist allocated to the Raised Skeleton, Revive, and Raised Skeletal Mage. 119% damage on the raised skeleton, 605 attack, 605 defense, 359 life, 8 skeletons, 124, 127 damage. Looking at revive, we get 180-second duration. That's 3 minutes for those that might be mathematically challenged. 300% life, 200% damage, and that percentage on life and damage, for those of you that don't know, that is the increase over the unit that you're reviving. So revive obviously brings back to life an enemy monster, right? We kill a monster, we bring them back to life on our team. You can get some crazy revives. Some enemies that have frenzy, you can revive them. They still utilize frenzy. Really, really strong stuff. But this has an extra 300% life and 200% damage than the monster you killed. That also means that it scales with difficulty. So a hell monster you revive is going to be a heck of a lot stronger than a normal difficulty monster you revive. And this allows us to have 20 of them. It is extremely strong. Then we have our raised skeletal mage, which only shows us life and defense. And then skeleton mastery looking down there. We got the skeleton damage, the skeleton life, magi life, improved missile damage, monster life, monster damage. So this affects all 3 of those summons you see there. And then summon resist on the left, I would never bring that to level 20, wouldn't recommend it. It doesn't scale well at the higher ends, but putting a few points in it is great. It's good to help keep your dudes alive. And also, all of your summons greatly benefit from any sort of team-oriented buffs. That means the barbarian shouts, any sort of auras that are being run, they're going to benefit the monsters, obviously, right? So it works so well. And why is this summoning Necro so important? Because the more units that he has summoned, the more minions, the more skeletons, revives, golems, the less likely it is that an enemy is going to target a player. And it really, really, really helps. The sense of security, just the extra defense, knowing that something else can absorb the blows for us. They can take the projectile they were firing towards me and a skeleton happened to get hit for it. Or we're all in melee and the enemies happens to be targeting one of the skeletons instead of the Zealadin or the Barbarian or whatever it may be. That's just less damage on the players. And they actually do a lot of damage. But one of the issues with the Necro is they're skill point starved. They're the only class, in my opinion, that is really starved for skill points. Because we get 100 skill points, essentially. There's 110 possible skill points in Diablo 2, but I always make builds out of 100 points, because that brings us to level 89. So whenever anyone's like, hey, could you help me with a build? What do you think about this build? I always say, make the build with 100 points. Because getting to level 99 with 110 points, it's a great goal, but it's not one that everyone reaches, and you always want to make sure your build's good to go around like level 89. Like you're good, you're solid. Those extra points you get from 89 to 99 is just like an added little bonus. But you're so starved for skill points because if you do the math, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, that's 100 points right here. So I am not a huge fan of raised skeletal mage. They don't do the damage that the other summons do, and they're not melee, so they're not absorbing as many attacks from enemies. So I generally don't bring them. So I'm going to cover that up with Clay Golem, Golem Mastery, and our Iron Golem. Our Iron Golem and Clay Golem, in my opinion, they are the 2 best golems. Now, Clay Golem, it's slightly covered a little bit by Skeleton Mastery in the corner there, but at the bottom of Clay Golem, it says slows enemies 63%. That means if the Clay Golem hits an enemy or gets hit, they will slow that unit by 63%, and it stacks with a lot of other slows. That also works on bosses. That is incredible. It's not just movement speed, it is attack speed as well from that unit it's going to slow. Attack bonus of 400, damage 15 to 38, life 3,863, and 940 attack and 800 defense. This is, of course, level 20 with a level 20 Golem Mastery. Another thing I wouldn't max out Golem Mastery, but it's damn good. It is good. And the extra movement speed is really good for the Golem as well on there. Now, why do I have Iron Golem up? Since Clay Golem is so damn good. Iron Golem is pretty damn incredible. For those of you who don't know, Iron Golem needs to be created from an item. That means you need to use a piece of equipment and consume that piece of equipment. You need to consume that gear to create your Iron Golem. But the Iron Golem gets the properties of that gear. Now, if your Iron Golem dies, you lose that gear for the most part. There are some exceptions, something that allows you to reclaim your item, but for the most part, items are going to be lost when the Iron Golem dies. So you got to keep that in mind. Which also, would make me put additional points in Golem Mastery if I'm using Iron Golem, because I want him to have some more life. I want him to stay alive, right? So I usually put a little bit more in Golem Mastery if I'm going Iron Golem. And Iron Golem, some of the properties from the items are incredible. You can use like an Insight Rune Word, and that gives a mana regen aura to you and all of the team, right? All your entire comp, your entire group, your 8 players. You can put that on a mercenary from Act 2, or you can use something else on a mercenary that makes him give a different aura, or, you know, a better aura, if I could talk. So an Iron Golem can actually give out the Insight aura for the team, so no one else has to utilize a merc for it. And definitely don't run the Insight aura on a paladin. That's definitely not worth doing. So the Iron Golem has some amazing benefit just for being able to do that, right? Taking a look at his stats, behind my webcam, I'll just read it from the bottom. You know what, we'll make this video a little better and remove myself from it. There we go, now we have a better video. We have defense bonus 700, 435% damage returned because there's a Thorns damage on the Iron Golem. That is not an aura he gives out, but it only affects him alone. So if anyone hits him, they're going to take a lot of damage. Defense 840, attack 980, 7 to 19 damage, and life 1545. Now, besides summons, is there anything else that the Necro might bring to the table? Bam! Bam! Now, my opinion on the curses, Amplify Damage is the one I go with if I'm playing a Necro. Summoning Necro. If I'm playing a Summoning Necro, I go with Amp Damage because Amp Damage is only 1 point required. It's at the very, very start of the tree. Lower Resist takes 7 points total in the curse tree to get. You need Amp Damage, 5 other curses, and then you get Lower Resist. Lower Resist is great if you have a lot of spell damage on your team, and or you're using a Poison Necro, or maybe a Rabies Druid. You have a lot of poison damage, because the Lower Resist affects poison and fire, lightning, and ice. The Paladin's Lower Resist aura does not affect poison. Lower Resist does. But you use so many points in Summoning Necro that I cannot justify using the 7 points to get down to Lower Resist. In addition to that, most of your damage as a Summoning Necro is physical. Lower Resist doesn't do anything for physical damage. Amplified Damage does. In fact, Amplified Damage can remove immunity to physical damage from enemies. Throw on Amp Damage and it'll strip that immunity from them, and your summons will kill them no problem. And of course, if you're running in a team comp, you're probably going to have some melee up in there, or you should. Whether that's the Paladin or the Barbarian, they will thank you for the Amp Damage for sure. It's going to greatly increase their damage. Like I said, Lower Resist is a great addition to the team, but I would not use that as a Summoning Necro. I would get a Poison Necro to use that. One thing to point out, though, you can strip a life tap from an enemy, which is another curse that melee might be using to leech life back to themselves to help their own survivability, and of course the survivability of the Necro's minions as well, because they benefit from life tap. You can strip that from the enemy and replace it with Amplified Damage and Lower Resist. You got to be careful of that, and that's something you have to discuss with your team, because some of the melee might be relying on life tap to stay alive, and that's something that player usually applies themselves, because they'll get it on items and such. Lower Resist, one thing I did want to talk about real quick before we go further one more time is show you this. There you go. This was the 8 points I was talking about spending. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points to get Lower Resist. I think I said that right the first time. That is a lot. 7 points is a lot for a Summoning Necro when they have so many things to get. They want to get their Skeleton Mask, their Race Skeleton, their Revives, whatever Golem they're going to get. Don't get Bulk Clay Golem and Iron. Golem Mastery, their Amplified Damage, their Skeleton Mastery, their Summon Resist. It's too much. It's too much stuff to lose an additional 6 points to get Lower Resist, because, and I'm calling it 6 points because you're going to get Amp Damage no matter what. And then it's 6 points after Amp Damage to get Lower Resist. Too much to do. But anyway, Necromancer, a great addition to the team because of their amplified damage that they're running and all of their minions to absorb all those attacks from enemies. I hope you guys agree with that, and if you don't, please let me know. But we're going to move on from number 4. Let's do this. Let's go. Okay. The ideal hardcore team comp, the 5th choice, or should I say 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's right. This one I'm just calling the DPS. And the reason for that is the first 4 are your core. The 4 hardcore core group of 4. You get what I'm saying. You got your barb, your druid, your paladin, your necro. Those are the 4 core in my opinion. I think those are really, really good to have. Those are your 4 core. After this, you're allowed the remaining 4 slots. You can kind of customize them a little bit. There's not really a right answer from here, but I'm going to pay special attention to that young lady right there. That, of course, is our sorceress, right? Why? A lot of you guys are probably waiting for the sorceress to show up, right? Because of that. We're not finished. So teleport, why is it so important? Well, other classes can get teleport with Enigma, the rune word for the chest piece, right? That body armor. They can get teleport. But the sorceress gets it much easier, much earlier. She can teleport around. She can help you find the next Durance of Hate level, whatever it may be, whatever you're trying to run. You're trying to run Diablo, Bale. Well, Diablo you don't really have to search, but she can teleport all the way into the Chaos Sanctuary, go real deep, and say, hey, portal up, ports up, TP up. The rest of the group jumps in that portal. Sorceress did a lot of the work for them, just teleported through. Tip, make sure you're buffing the sorceress with the barbarian shouts before she leaves for a teleport run. Nothing sucks more than, like, teleporting and getting stuck because something hit you, and, yeah, it's just bad. Be careful. Get buffed before you leave, Mr. or Mrs. Sorceress. What else do they bring to the table, though? Static Field, baby! Static Field is incredible. You'll have an act boss spawn or something, and just bam, 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 Static Field. Like crazy. Drop 5, 6, whatever, however many static fields, that's going to depend on the level of static field, and it'll just chunk the enemy's health. You'll just see it, it'll be down to like 10% health in like 5 seconds. Incredible ability. It's so incredible, I wonder why this ever made it into the game. A static field is just the one ability that just seems like really out of place, like it's too damn good. But hell, it exists, we gotta make use of it, right? Meteor, Frozen Orb. I'm throwing those up there because if I chose to play a sorceress in a team comp like this, I would choose Meteor or Frozen Orb. I love lightning sorceresses. Let me say that right now, before someone's gonna jump down my throat and be like, bro, you don't even chain lightning? You don't lightning? I love lightning. Love lightning sorceresses. But, if we're playing in a group setting, a Javazon, great at clearing out groups, is going to do heavy lightning damage. You know who else will? A Trapesin is going to bring heavy lightning damage. I personally would not play a lightning sorceress in a large group comp if one of those two are coming in. If we have a Javazon coming in or a Trapesin coming in, I wouldn't play a lightning sorceress. I'd take that into account. Now, hopefully, if you are running one of these sorceresses or Javazon or Trapesin, we have someone bringing Conviction. I hope we have a Paladin bringing Convictions, so that can be one of the 5 to 8, right? So, just to clarify, let's recap this, take a step back real quick. We're in characters 5, 6, 7, and 8. What would I bring? I know you guys are going to ask, but what would you bring if in those last 4 slots? I'd bring another Paladin, so he could run Conviction, if the original Paladin's not. He's probably running something, maybe Concentration or something like that. So, another Paladin to run Conviction. At least one Sorceress to run Frozen Orb, and then maybe a second Sorceress to run Meteor, and those 2 Sorcerai, that's the plural of Sorceress is Sorcerai, by the way. No, it's not. They can both teleport and try to find the location together. There's at least 2 of them teleporting around. You'll find the next level faster to do your end act bosses. So you have 2 sorceresses, 1 paladin, and then pick either a Javazon or a Trapesin. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of playing an assassin. They're good. They're definitely viable. It's not my playstyle. I'm more of a Javazon. So I would play a Javazon personally in my last 4 slots. So that's a Paladin, maybe 2 Sorceresses, and 1 Javazon. Or switch the Javazon or Sorceress out for a Trapesin if you want. But, by the way, one of you Paladins might be like, oh man, Conviction Aura sounds really strong, but as a Paladin, I don't make use of it because I'm doing heavy physical damage with my Zeal or my Smite. Well, boom, baby! Vengeance! I just wanted to throw that in there, just in case you're feeling a little depressed that you might be running Conviction in your group, or for your group. You can do some heavy damage as a Vengeance Conviction Paladin. Bam, baby! Just slap him with the Vengeance. That thing hurts. Look at that for a second. Cold length, 1.2 seconds. Fire damage, 70%. Cold damage, plus 70%. Lightning damage, plus 70%. Attack, plus 20%. And it scales like crazy from the resist auras. And you're doing all three. You're doing 3 elements, minus poison, of course. But you're doing all 3 elements: fire, cold, lightning. And you got in conviction running, so you're doing even more damage because you're stripping resistances from the enemies. This thing hurts. It hits like a truck. Now, it doesn't have the crowd clearing, but that second paladin could be this. They could do Vengeance, they could do Conviction, let everyone else clear the crowds. Something that's a little stronger you come up against. Wham! Vengeance is nuts. Plus, you got your Merc, you got some maybe procs on your weapons that can do something to help clear the crowd a little bit. You could have Zeal as well, so you can just do bam, 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 do your multi-strikes and stuff. Alright, so we're done with this. We're done with our 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost forgot one thing. Remember when we talked about these here? The Oak Sage and Heart of the Wolverine? Those come from this guy, the Druid. This might be a good opportunity to include a second Druid on the team. And I would coordinate their playstyle. Are they going to be an Elemental Druid? And if they are, think about the elements they're going to be using. Are they going to be the same as another class? And if they are, you might want to change that up. Now, we haven't talked about poison at all in any of our characters at all. This might be where you bring in rabies. You can bring in a lot of poison here. It's an incredible ability for crowd clearing. Spreads to all enemies and stuff, and you use it in the werewolf form only. So you can't use it in bear. So if you want to be in bear, rabies is not going to be for you. You have to be in werewolf form. This would be a great opportunity to bring in a Heart of the Wolverine as a massive extra damage for the team. But Oak Sage should be your first choice for that first Druid. Early on, we put him in the second place. That has to be Oak Sage. That's super important that you have that first before you even consider Heart of the Wolverine. If you have 2 Druids, you can bring Heart of the Wolverine. That's great. And then again, consider rabies if you don't have any poison on the team at all. It's a good choice. One last thing I wanted to cover before we left today. I know this video is quite long, but what can I say? Diablo 2, I love talking about it. I could always talk about it all day. But I'm going to have to end this video with the mercs. So this is something else to take into account because there are 6 possible auras that you can have from Act 2 mercs with which most people run. Most people run Act 2 mercs. You don't have to. So you're going to want to coordinate who's bringing what mercs because there's also a possibility of bringing an Act 5 merc and you can equip them with stuff like Last Wish. Last Wish is an incredible rune word. If you just look at that 4th line right there on Last Wish, level 17 Might Aura when equipped. So they could bring auras as well. There's plenty of rune words out there, plus there's rune words you can equip your Act 2 mercs with, such as Insight. Insight is not the greatest when it comes to damage for your merc, but it brings a level 17 meditation aura right there. Obviously that varies, the level 17, that'll vary based on the rune word, you know. It might roll higher or lower, but that's something to consider. Who's bringing what mercs are using what auras. Talk about that with your team before deciding on the merc that you're going to want to bring. And of course, try to coordinate it to a way that's it makes sense for the player. For instance, a Might Aura might not be the best for one of the sorcerers because it's not going to increase their damage at all. It'll increase the merc's damage, but it's not going to increase the sorceress's damage. So maybe throw the Might on one of the paladins or throw the prayer if you even bring that. Prayer is not great, but some people really like it for their Necros, for the summoning Necros, because it heals. It's like the only way to heal the Necros pets unless they leech life off a life tap or they just resummon them. And one of the things is with the pets, you can't see the health of the pets when you have multiple pets of the same type. You can't see their health bar, so prayer can help just ensure that they're going to be healed. So just consider that. Talk about it with your team on who's going to bring what. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Spent a great deal of time making it, a lot more than it probably looks like I spent. It took quite a long time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know. If you want to see more Diablo 2 content, such as builds, like good builds that I think are great for hardcore, or tips, tricks, anything like that, please let me know what you think. If you have any video ideas you'd like to see, thank you very much for watching. Throw me a sub if you like this content. I always appreciate that. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Skidda!